Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I am here with something I am very excited to finally have at the table in front of you. It's been a little while. I've been trying to get to it, and I finally got to sit down with, that's right, Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. I'm going back to my roots, right? Going back to where it all began. It's been a little while since I have been able to sit down with some Lock and Load Tactical. I have just been caught up in 100 billion things trying to get caught up since ended up in the hospital. Health's finally doing a little better, so I could play catch up and get all these things done. Been touching on digital stuff, and as you've seen, definitely go check out 6 Days in Fallujah if you haven't. But had this, been waiting on it, finally get to sit down with it. So I came up with a scenario, or actually I picked out a scenario that I thought would be a fun one to play. I want vehicles, I want tanks, big tanks all across the map. So I decided to go with this scenario, which I do have pulled out here. That is Fire on Hill 150. And we're going to be using all the solo components, all that good stuff that you have seen. And you see the little map here that is set up. One of the specifics that I wanted to include was that little map hill piece, because that's just so freaking cool, man. I was already going to use the smaller of the maps, right? Because this is the smaller ones. There's the regular size. I shouldn't say small. These are regular size. And then there's the X maps, which are the bigger ones. And this game comes with everything. This game is like, what is that that car that came out in the 50s? Like the Hudson or the Hexel or the Edsel? Was it Edsel? That sounds right. And they ran him out of business because he was hurting the other car manufacturers because he put everything in there, right? Bitter Harvest reminds me of that. He put everything in the damn box. There is so much in here. The solitaire stuff right here in the box. No expansion. You just have it right here. Boom. This is what you guys are going to see. Solitaire assistant right there in the box ready to go. Double the maps because you have the regular maps and then you have the X maps. Don't have to buy them separately. Boom, they're right there in the box. For me, I prefer the smaller ones because it's easier for me to film because I don't have to back out the camera as far. I can have it right here and I can still get all of the map in, and it still works with the same size pieces, so don't have to worry about it. There is just so much content in this box. Even the data cards for the units are right here in the box. And they, at first, I wasn't even going to open them. I was like, I'm not going to need these. I got counters. These things are freaking awesome. There's so much information on them. I don't have to worry about flipping the damn counters because the stats are right here on these cards. Everything that I need is right here. I love it. Can't wait to try this thing out. So let me tell you the scenario that we have going on here. We have ourselves a bunch of German tanks, right, that are going to be coming on from this south board, and we got one Stuka that we can bring in. All hail Stuka, the legend. But Mr. Devon, Lieutenant Heinel, yeah, Heinel, whatever, is in here. I always want to say Heinkel. For some reason, that's the thing. He is the leader on this side, and what was the leader on this one? That's Major Alexei. Major Alexei is over here. But the Soviets are occupying the big cool hill, and the Germans have to come in from the south side of the map, and they have to push their way up and clear the Germans off the hill. Now, since not the Germans, the Russians off the hill. Since the Russians have the hill, they are the defensive ones. So I set up our solo thing for the Germans to be offensive. They're going to have a little bit harder time because they have to push up. There is some open terrain for them to get shots on. I tried to set up the Soviets with open fields of fire so they could, pick off these German tanks. But the Germans are going to have a decent time getting their way up here. Now, since it has been a while, I'm hoping there's enough memory in here to remember how to play Lock and Load Tactical appropriately, but don't hold me to it if I make a goof here or there. It's definitely going to happen. I've played lots of Hex and Counter tactical games, so I might confuse a rule or two. If we do, it's not the end of the world. I will say there is one specific rule that I am going to ignore for this map specifically, And that has to do with the fact that these units do have machine guns. They are tanks. They have cannons, but they also have machine guns. And one of the things I don't want to have to worry about keeping track of is the opener button. Yes, I understand that does have a fair amount to do with this game, but since we don't have any infantry, there's no infantry, it's all vehicles here. I'm going to ignore machine guns, ignore opener button. We're not going to worry about plinking away at tanks with machine guns. We're just going to focus on the cannon fire itself. That way, I still got counters for turrets. We can do the turrets and the whole nine. But this way, I just don't have to worry about them being buttoned. I don't have to worry about potentially having crews shaken up because machine gun fire came in and they got scared. No, we're just not going to worry about that. We're going to ignore that aspect of it. But do understand that it is part of the game that you can fire on a tank with a machine gun if the crew is open and unbuttoned and potentially cause some issues for them. Just for my specific purposes, we're not going to worry about it. Now, our little scenario book here does give us the little rundown of what's going on. For the Soviets, we're going to have two KV1Cs, so KV1s. We're going to have three T-34s, the M42 variant, and two T-70s, which are crap. The T-70s really aren't that good. Those T-34s are really good, and the KVs are just shit hot. So we've got 5 good tanks and 2 tanks, kind of tracked vehicles for the Soviets. The Germans have a fair amount more. They have 4 Panzer IIIs. Not the best, but better than nothing. And six Panzer IVs. They have 3 Fs and they have 3 Gs, and they've got the one Ju-87 airstrike. The Germans are going to come in from the south, push up, and they have 8 turns. We've got our little turn record track over here with, I like this too. This is something newer I haven't paid as much attention to. Little counter we can keep track of the rally phase, impulses, passes, all that good stuff as well. So the AI has the ability to pass. I could pass, make a misturn, good stuff. So looking forward to doing that. But they have 8 turns, and all the Soviets have to do, all I have to do is have any tank operating on that hill, this hill here, right? All I have to do is have at least one of them surviving. That's why I left one of those little T-70s tucked a little ways back, because I figure if the battle goes badly, I can just roll him back off the edge of this hill, roll him back again, try to run away with him a little bit, because it'll take the Germans a little bit of time to crest this hill and get back over to him. Hopefully by that stage, it'll be a late stage of the game, and he might be able to just outlast, circle around. And that's right, I can't roll him off the back. He has to be somewhere on this actual extra counter to count as the win. The Germans have more, but the Soviets have better. Those KV-1s are a beast. The T-34s are okay, but the T-34s also have emplaced positions. And what that means is they get to negate hull hits. I thought about giving those to the T-70s, but I was like, nah. If I give them to the T-70s, I'm just keeping around a vehicle that's not that good. Screw it. I've got 3 emplaced vehicle positions that I can use, so I will give them to the 3 T-34s. That way, those that are okay are now pretty good, because the KVs can take a shot from these tanks and survive pretty well. Now, with the emplaced positions, these T-34s have an even better chance of not being taken out by the enemy. All right, so let me pull these back. These are going to be coming in, and there's actually a neat little way that they come in, and that's why I have it flipped to this page here of the scenario booklet, which has just, good grief, a lot of information in here. But I'm going to do it this way. The entry from the German zone, it splits all the vehicles up into a grouping. So basically all the tanks are part of a group, and this is the order in which they're going to enter. I will roll to determine which group's going to enter. And as each group is pulled out on a board, roll on the following chart to see which hex it will enter. This way I can give some randomness to the start of the game. They have this already set up, so they will enter, these hexes, and I can roll to determine which group's going to come in during that turn. Really cool stuff. Now, this is the first time I'm trying this. The Germans actually do start with initiative. So we'll have all the German tanks coming on. They'll probably do some moving and firing, but I'd really like to see these German tanks move on, get into a covered position, somewhere out of line of sight, maybe tucked behind a building, into these wheat fields. Wheat fields are blocking terrain, so they will not be able to shoot them if they get in there. I've got my little terrain effects chart here, double-sided. Shows right here, wheat field blocking terrain, and then the movement cost, any special stuff. Let's see, negates the +1 moving or moved marker penalty for the unit. Cool stuff. But it's blocking. That's the key thing. We want to see if we can keep our German tanks from getting shot up, because we do have some lines of fire. Kind of hoping that these Russian tanks, they can shoot down the hill and maybe pick off some of these German tanks as they're trying to come up. But we do have to worry about that Ju-87. Don't know when that's going to come in, but it's going to target my better vehicles, which will either be the T-34s or the KVs. Now, the one difference I am going to change, though, in the I'm butchering it here, the solo module, is that they said for their leader to be attached to a Panzer IV-F. I'm going to put it with a Panzer IV-G, because the Panzer IV-G has better stats. And to show you guys, these, give me the stats. God, I love these. These are so cool. See, make sure I'm getting some focus here for you guys. But as you can see, that Panzer IV-G has better stats on this ordnance chart. We're going to see it in action here in a little bit. But basically, the top number is range, middle number is the to hit number. So 2d6, you're looking equal to or under to hit. And then that bottom number is that penetration. So we see, for depending on the range, we're either going to have 5, 4, 3 on that Panzer IV-G, but the Panzer IV-F has a shorter range and less penetration. It's not as good. So why are we going to put their leader on an F? Let's put that leader on a G. Where's the G? G, got a better gun. Longer range, better penetration. We're going to go with that. And for the Panzer III-J, you see, it's not bad. It's not bad. A little less armor. Armor is kept track of over here. And I love how they have this divided out, just like it is on the counter. Left side of the slash is the hull. Right side slash is the turret. And that number is what we get to add to it. So basically, we do a contested die roll. 1d6, and you're either adding armor value or you're adding penetration. See who wins. Winner gets to either live or have their tank destroyed. So besides our 3 types of tanks for the Germans, we also do have our Ju-87 here, and you see it's got some cool stats. Big thing is the fact that it has the ability to put some hurt down from above. Hopefully we can get some HE bomb fire stuff onto some of these Soviet tanks and take them out. Although I will have to refresh myself on how airstrikes work, because it has been a little while since I've done it. Like I said, for our Soviets, we have T-70s, T-34s, and KV-1s. Here are our stats for our T-70. You see, not very good armor values, rather weak penetration values. T-34, a little bit better. They've got good hull values and turret values, but it really doesn't matter for the hull, because all these guys are hull down, which means any hit against the hull is just negated. No roll, negated. Done. So they have to hit the turret. Unfortunately for us, the turret is weaker on a T-34. So the hits they take there, they are a little weaker, more likely to be penetrated. But essentially half of the hits are just getting ignored. So that's good for them. KV-1, it's a beast. It's a beast. See, the frontal value is a 7. It's beastly. They got to get around the back of these guys. You're adding 7 points of armor to a contested D6 roll. That is way more than the penetration value that any of these vehicles have, the German vehicles. So they have a really good chance of holding out. Their guns are okay, but it's really that armor value that makes these KV-1s just... And like I said, they've got the machine gun values here, but I'm ignoring it. Don't hold it against me. All right. Only other components I got to show you guys before we get started here is I do have my solo assistant. You guys will see these cards as we go on. They have generic cards, which are just regular order cards. Then there are either defensive or offensive. I've got offensive cards in here, so it's either blue for defensive or red for offensive. And then there are different types, different levels of AI, right? So there's silver star level and then gold star level. This scenario calls for just the silver star level, so we're not going to have any gold star orders coming through. So we've got generic and we've got silver star offensive cards in here. And then there are actually a couple of events that we will see pop up. Those events can only happen once. Once they've popped off, then they're done. And then there are a few cards that will cause you to reshuffle the deck under certain circumstances. But if we burn through it anyway, we're going to reshuffle regardless. No big deal there. The only other aspect that I'm adding to it is my special dice. God, I love these dice. These are gravity dice from Lock and Load Tactical. They were nice enough to send me these and actually especially a Grave set. And these go along with like World at War 85, the red and the blue. Love these dice, these metal. I mean, hear that. Just, it's beautiful. I shouldn't be tapping on them, but I love these dice. So I got 3 of the regular bullet ones. And then this set, I still think, I do believe you can still get these dice from Lock and Load Tactical. And tell me, who doesn't love the bullet case, right? It's beautiful. You gotta love that. So our special gravity dice are definitely going to be used. Normally I would use my double 6 dice, but gotta use gravity dice when we're playing some Lock and Load Tactical. All right. Only other thing, I do have the acquiring markers out to the side because once you start firing a vehicle, if you don't move, you can get an acquiring bonus shooting at the same vehicle twice. I'm hoping I will remember that, but I might forget. Okay, so we're ready to go here. I was grabbing out a couple of player aids to make sure we are good to go. There are a buttload. That is one of the things with this game is you are going to have a lot of player aids, especially if you're using the player aids that go with the solitaire stuff. For the most part, I'm not going to worry about those player aids too much. We're going to make judgment calls and just go with it. But we are going to use the cards as we are doing this. And we are going to roll for their entries. So let me grab my thing here. Like I said, Germans start with initiative, so we don't have to worry about that on the first turn. We are simply rolling to see which group is coming in. Enter from German entry zone. Should we just... See, it doesn't say, as each group is pulled onto the board, roll on the following chart to see what hex it will enter. I'm thinking that... damn, I should have looked this up. When it comes to the solitaire, I don't think it did say anything about what order you have to enter the units. All right, so I did figure it out. It took me a second. I had to go back and read the instructions on it, but there are these little markers, and I had not realized what they were for until now. These are your group markers. So if you are randomly placing units on the map for the AI, right, the opponent, the AEO, Automated Enemy Opponent, as the Lock and Load Tactical calls it, you're going to use these markers. When it comes to the groups coming onto the board, you're going to have your group numbers. So there's 1 through 9 here because I've got 9 specific groups that have to come onto the map. And then I randomly draw from these counters to determine what order they come on. Ingenious, love it. I should have read that earlier, but now that does make perfect sense. If you are having units spawn on the map, right? So the enemy is already here on the map instead of coming in from off map, you would have these mixed with some non-enemy contacts. So you wouldn't know what enemy was where. You would flip the counter and you would find out there's either a group there that has some infantry or a tank, or you would find that there's nothing. Really like that. So it's like that rumored enemy, right? You don't have a sure knowledge of where the enemy's going to be. Like how they did that. All right, so let's mix these up a little bit. We'll just draw one. Make sure I don't flip them over. And I'll just push them over to the side here and flip one over. And let's go for this one. 1. We're starting with 1. That's a Panzer III. Panzer IIIJ's coming in. We're going to roll, see where he's coming in at. He's coming in at 6. And 6 for us is going to be 82 N8. Let's see, where is N8? N8 is here. All right, so he's coming in on the far right side. Bam. He has got 10 track movement. I'll show you guys. Where is Panzer 3J? So, right here at the movement, 10T. 10T means tracked. Now, for this first turn, just probably his first turn only, I'm not going to worry about drawing cards. I want to try to get them forward into covered positions, tucked where they can't get shot. I didn't grab my little laser pointer because I didn't think I was going to need it on this first turn. Lines of sights. So, like our T-34 that's over here, he can't shoot right over in this direction, but he can shoot farther. So he's got a line of sight to these hexes because the building's not going to block his line of sight all the way, right? Because he's up on a hill, so he's kind of overlooking this building. You could tuck into the edge of the building and be blocked, right? Because the building's blocking you from that higher elevation. But down over here, he'd still have a line of sight. But that's going to block, that's going to block. So pretty much coming in anywhere over here, they should be fine. So if we go 1, that's 3, 3, 5, because there's 2 to move through there. And if I move 1 forward, he's going to be in line of sight. Ooh, actually, he's not going to be in line of sight. He's not going to be in line of sight because the way I've got these guys going, their line of sight is like that. Right there, he just is barely out. But I could turn the turret to fire at him. I don't want to do that because that's a penalty. I'm probably going to wait. We want to be a little slow. We're going to be cautious on this first turn. So we're going to tuck him back. I'm not going to use all his movement points. I want to try to get all the tanks on into these early hexes. That way on the next turn, they can push forward. Because if any of these German tanks get forward into a line of sight, everything that can see them is going to fire at them. And I don't want to have that happen to them. All right, so let's grab this one. Of course, it's that. We'll go with the earlier one. We'll say that's 6, because 6 and 9 look the exact same on this. 6, group 6. All right, so group 6 is going to be a Panzer F. Which one was it? G is the best, so I'm going to wait till it's the last G. The last G will have our leader on it. I'll set him to the side. So we're bringing on a Panzer IV-F, and this Panzer IV-F is going to 4. 4 is going to be 82H8. H8 is right here. He's probably going to do the same thing. Actually, he could get all the way up there. 1, 3, 5, 7. And he's still not in a line of sight. Now, in some games, Assault Red Horizon, for example, you can drive here, but I don't believe Lock and Load Tactical, you can move onto a building hex with a tank. Yeah, okay, that's right. In this game, a tracked vehicle that enters one of these hexes will rubble the building, and I don't want to rubble those buildings, at least not yet. Maybe later, because the rubble, I do believe, can give me a defensive bonus, but that is on my other terrain effects chart. See, now this is interesting. Here, rubble can only be entered by a vehicle that is tracked. It is degrading through any portion, and it does give a +3. So entering the buildings on the next turn could be a good idea for the Germans. Pop up there, and rubble will give them better defense than this cornfield. So yeah. That's what we're going to do. All right. Continuing on. Oh, and just as an FYI, since I haven't technically mentioned this part yet, yes, there is alternating impulses. So technically I should be taking impulses, but I'm passing here because I don't have a line of sight and I don't want to move my guys yet. So I'm essentially passing, and it's going back to the AI, and the AI is bringing on its units. That's probably what's going to happen for all of their entry. So if you don't see me do anything yet, it's not that I'm not taking my impulses, I am passing. All right, so let's flip. We've got 7, 7. Lucky number 7 is another Panzer F, Panzer IV-F. He's coming in. Where is he coming in at? He's coming in the same hex. Remember, 6 was here. And I want to get him to the same position, out of line of sight. So 1, 3, 5. And he could go there because there's still line of sight blocked. Yeah, we're going to stop there. Mark him as moved. I will pass and draw another counter for them. What did we do? 6? So that should be 9. What is 9? 9 should be the last one. 10. It says there are 10 groups. Did I miss one? Oh, yeah, I did miscount because there's 4 of those. That's all right. Whatever I don't draw last will be 10. Actually, 10 is going to be the Panzer 4G with the commander. So I wanted that to enter last anyway, so that's fine. Now we are going to bring in a Panzer 4G. That's the next one to come on. And he's going to 5, 82 K8. I think I'm on K8. H-I-J-K's. K8's coming here. Where do we want to go? Ooh. All right, I'm not going to let them shoot dead at him, but he's got a line of sight right to him. Can't fire now, but him moving there would get him out of the line of fire, so that's going to be his first move. Or going this way would get him out of line of fire, but we'll go this way. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Yeah, 9. He's got 10 tracks, so that'll work. Mark him as moved. That takes care of that. Who do we got left? We've got number 5. Group 5 will be Panzer 4F. All the Panzer 4Fs coming on first. All right, where you going, Panzer 4F? They're all coming in here into this field, which I would expect. Not group 1, spot 1. B8. Ooh, he gonna die. He gonna die. Because there's nowhere for him to go that's not going to have a line of sight. The moment he moves, I could fire. Okay, I got to think this one over. Cuss. Now I have a line of sight. Here. 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 These 3. Not him. Well, maybe him because he's firing way over the slope. Depending, since he's so far away, these are on equal heights. I'd probably give him a couple of hexes behind that. Yes, there's an official formula for it, but I'm not going to be that anal about it, about how far the shadow goes that you can't have a line of sight. He's got a line of sight, but I'd have to pivot him. Not pivot him, but pivot his turret, but that would be a penalty. I don't want to do that. Let's see. What is our range of our T-70? Our T-70 has a range of up to 20 hexes with a penetration of only 1. So, let's see here. I could fire with him. Let's see, 10 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, if he tries to move up at all, it's going to get him. I'm better served going along this way, having them fire at max range, which I think is probably what we're going to do. All right. But if he turns like that to go that way, he's get the side shot. But the side shot, he's got level 3 armor. Where's our Panzer 4F? Panzer 4F. You see, it's pretty much 3 all the way across the board, except for the rear. So he's pretty well good. He can kind of move around as he pleases without having to worry about his front side towards the enemy, but I don't want to have them having lots of shots at him. He can have an op fire. I might just take 1 shot at him when he starts to move. Yeah, we'll do one just so we can get a shot going, yo. Just so we can do a shot. Gotta shoot him, man. T-70 gonna fire right there because he's not gonna get any closer. It's gonna be at max range for this T-70, and he's probably gonna miss. No modifiers are going to apply, I don't believe. Let's see, ordnance modifier. And I am ignoring buttoned, unbuttoned for any modifier since I am not worrying about that. It's not outside the arc. He's not doing assault or stealth movement. It's clear terrain. And that's one of the things. Assault Red Horizon has a defensive die for clear terrain, like, signifying the fact that you're taking the ground. Lock and load tactical doesn't have that, so you gotta keep that shit in your mind, yo. Did an assault movement. Tracing line of sight between two buildings. Obstacle complete. Flying mode. I don't. Marked with a moved. He's being marked with a move. Or currently moving. So he's going to get a +1. It's going to be even harder to hit this guy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll take the shot just to do it. So he goes there, got to do a 2d6, and I am looking for, at max range, a 4 or under, because I am getting a +1 on this. Ah! Dirty, we hit him. Look at that shit. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Penetration factor of 1. Penetration factor of 1. And he's got an armor of 3. So that's all we're looking at there for penetration values. So it's 2d6 roll. Gray is going to be for the Germans. Red is going to be for the Soviets. Soviets get to add 1. Germans get to add 3. Whoever wins the die roll is it. So it's either going to be a glance, nothing, or it's going to hit and destroy this Panzer IV-F on the first hit. Turn. That's what I'm talking about, baby. All right, come on. What do you got? Oh. Is it close? 6-6? Oh, it's fucking tie. Freaking tie. What the hell? I think tie does something too, and I can't remember. Shit. Let me look. Okay, so that's right. He has to make a morale check. If he hits him, where was it? I was just at. Yeah. If it's equal to the target's roll. So he get to add 1, he get to add 3, that's 6 for both, so it's equal to, if he had beaten it, if the Soviets had beaten him, he just would have been destroyed flat out. If they don't, then if it's equal, then it's a morale check, and if it's under, the attackers is under, then they have to do the morale check, and they get to subtract the difference in the die rolls. So they get an extra bonus to passing it. However, here, since it was equal, if they fail, the crew will abandon the vehicle, which for us, we're just going to count as a vehicle destroyed because I'm not going to have infantry running around in this specific scenario since we're just doing tanks, right? But normally the crew would abandon it. So let's roll. They better pass this. Unfortunately, they don't have any modifiers going for them. You need it low, baby. Oh, that's a fail. That's a fail. That's a bad fail. All right, so our first casualty has been decided. The Panzer IV-F is out. It has been destroyed. Essentially, the Soviets fired at it and were able to cause the crew to flee. I just left a wrecked marker there to signify the fact that there is a wrecked abandoned tank in the hex. Damn, that sucks for them. They are not starting off well. All right, we still have 5 vehicles to get onto the board, though, but we're getting a little long on this video, so I'm probably going to pause it here. We'll pick up on the next one. I might play the rest of the entry point for the Germans off camera, and if nothing happens, then we won't worry about it. We'll just pick up on the next video. But if something else happens, then I will definitely show that aspect, and we'll just have that be the start of the next video. Has started out rather exciting, though. Damn, I can't believe the T-70 that I was talking schmack about was able to get a long-range lucky hit and pop a Panzer IV just like that. Damn, that's unfortunate. Panzers are going to have to pull this one back because they've got to clear this ridge. And I'm bumping on my map here. They got to clear this ridge. And like I said, 3 T-34s with emplacements, with hull down, is really going to make it hard for them to get them off. But if they can get up here into these buildings, get some rubble positions, right, that give them that terrain defensive bonus, then they could be in a good spot. So they're getting that +3 for the rubble added to, yeah, that's going to make it harder to hit them. And then decent enough armor at kind of a medium range. Here it'd be a little bit farther, but here that's, roughly a medium range. They should be able to hold it out. But here's the thing. I've still got that Ju-87, and I was thinking, trying to go across in such a way that I might be able to get 2 of them, right? see if you can pop them, because you hit them from the top, they'll, you know, pop like a little grape. And if they could take out especially one of these KV1s, that would be a big tide swing for the Germans, because those KV1s are the scary ones. They have such a high armor. Anyway, we will have to see how that plays out, but it is awesome to be sitting again in front of some lock and load tactical. I'm really looking forward to playing this one out. I don't think it'll take too long. I should be able to get this done in maybe 3 or 4 videos. So you guys stay tuned. We'll see how it plays out. Y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.